Welcome everyone to Modern Warfare.
The game begins at an SAS training compound in Credenhill, United Kingdom.
Quite milky.
Playing as Soap McTavish on his first day joining the SAS. He's instantly met by this guy, Gaz. Gaz then tells Soap that Captain Price wants to see him. Who's Captain Price, you ask? This guy, the biggest stud in the SAS. He's basically the boss. Next mission, crew expendable. You spawn in, Captain Price is hitting his jewel. And the boys think that something sussy is going down on this ship, thanks to info they got from a Russian informant called Nikolai. They jump down, go through some tunnels, and then what is this? They find a plutonium package, but then they hear of enemies coming to their position. Soap grabs a manifest, and they dip out real quick. Then the ship gets shot at. There's a big explosion. They fall to the ground. Then Price is like, I'll save you, buddy. They start running. The ship's pretty much about to go down, but luckily the boys clutch up. They jump back on board the helicopter, and then oh no, Soap's about to die, but Captain Price saves him.
Gotcha. Roger that, we're out of here. Let's go, baby!
That brings us to the next mission. You're playing as President Al-Fulani, and it's all from his perspective. Basically, there's this bad guy called Al-Assad, and his men have captured Al-Fulani. Al-Fulani's then chucked into the back of a Fiat 500, smacked in the face with a rifle, gets back up, and sees this guy and his epic trim. This is Vita Sakayev, by the way. Bad guy.
So you're a tough guy.
They then drive for a little bit, and eventually pull up to their destination. Al-Fulani is then ripped out the back of the car, and smacked in the face again. Then Al-Fulani's fading in and out of consciousness, and he looks up and sees this dude. Imran Zakayev, the leader of the Russian ultra-nationalists. They're the bad guys, by the way.
I'm that bad guy.
And he's the dad of this guy. Al-Fulani's then shoved up against this wooden pole, turns around, and look who it is, it's Al-Assad.
Duh.
He's live streaming in 360p, and then Daddy Zakayev gives him a Desert Eagle. Al-Assad then walks back to the camera and says, "This is how it begins." Turns around, epic slow-mo, and shoots Al-Fulani in the head. Rip. This brings us back to the SAS boys. Remember Nikolai the informant? Well, he got captured by ultra-nationalists, so the team has to save him. This brings us to Blackout in the Caucasus Mountains, Russia. Soap and the boys pull up, kill a couple dudes, sneaky mode. And then they come across this guy. Meet Sergeant Kamarov.
Captain Price.
Nobody can touch my swag.
Price and Kamarov have a little chat. Then the SAS team up with the Russian loyalists. Go into this village. Then Gaz and Kamarov get into some beef because Kamarov's stalling and not telling them where the informant is. So Gaz is like, where is he? And then Kamarov tells them he's at this house down the end of the village.
Well, that wasn't so hard, was it? Now go and sit in the corner.
Why are you crying?
So the boys grapple down, epic. Go past some enemies, get to the house, put some night vision goggles on, kill some dudes, and then here he is, Nikolai. They save Nikolai, dip out the lobby, and jump onto this helicopter, ending the mission.
Americans are making mistake. They will never take Al-Assad alive.
This brings us to the next mission, where you swap from the SAS to the USMC. USA! And you're playing as Sergeant Paul Jackson. In Charlie Don't Surf, the Americans are looking for Al-Assad. So Jackson grapples down and heads to this HQ building. They go inside, kill everyone, but Al-Assad is not there.
No sign of Al-Assad here, sir.
Soon after, they get info that Al-Assad is in fact a little bit down the road at a local TV station broadcasting himself.
You make one, do the
Double kill.
So Jackson and the boys make their way over, kill a bunch of dudes, get to the station, blast open the door, go inside, kill some more dudes. Eventually, they get to the top end of the station where they think Al-Assad is doing this little live stream. Flashbang out.
Can you believe it, guys?
Sorry. They then breach the door, make their way in. But oh no, what's this? They've been bamboozled. Al-Assad is not there. My guy's doing a Twitch rerun. So yeah, big L for the Americans right there.
Yeah. Big word, Howland.
Next mission, the bog. Playing as Jackson again with the American boys. Basically, a tank has been stranded in a freaking bog and they have to go save it. And they eventually make it to this area, and there's just so many enemies shooting at them from a bridge. And some tanks start pulling up. So Jackson has to get this javelin off the floor and uses it to destroy the armored vehicles on the overpass. Boom, 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 boom. They then head forwards and finally make it to where the tank is, stranded in a Shrek swamp. And the Americans want to send in some choppers to help out the boys, but they can't because some Russian dude is on an anti-aircraft gun. So then Jackson finds the guy, blows him up with C4. Jackson then plants a beacon, and the choppers pull up and absolutely Shrek these guys. The team then regroups by the tank, and the mission ends. This brings us to the next mission, playing once again as the British boys, hunted in Western Russia. They're on their way to drop Nikolai off at a safe house, when the mission immediately begins with a missile headed their way.
Incoming missile.
Which hits the helicopter and takes them down. The screen fades to black, but Soap is still alive. He regains consciousness when Captain Price comes over with his minty fresh breath.
You're still in one piece. Get up.
bit rude.
You need to get moving before the search parties get here.
The team then starts to make their way to an extraction point. They then start sneaking through this little field when an enemy helicopter can be seen in the distance. The team gets down, hides from the chopper, and luckily it passes. They start making their way towards this house when, oh no, the choppers actually noticed them. They then fire back at the enemies, and after a while the door opens to the house and they dip out. They then have to kill some dudes and some dogs as well. Very sad. They make their way forward, being very sneaky of course. And eventually make their way to a barn, where Soap picks up a stinger and uses it to take down the helicopter. Boom.
Not shooting this, so.
With the helicopter taken down, they make their way forwards and eventually come to a road where there's a bunch of enemies. But very soon after, a friendly AC-130 comes in and absolutely destroys them. Bye-bye. Bringing us to the next mission, Death from Above, where he plays a thermal imaging TV operator in the AC-130 gunship. In this mission, you just shoot at the ground and help Captain Price and the boys get to an evac point. GG's. Next mission, back to USMC, Warpig. This pretty much continues from where the bog left off, except this time the tank's actually fixed and working and starts whipping its way through the streets. So the tank makes its way through, team pushes forward, kills a bunch of guys, kills some more dudes, get to a vantage point where an enemy tank can be seen coming down the road.
They see me rolling.
Warpig is the superior tank and takes it out very quickly. The team then makes their way to an extraction point, jumps on a helicopter, and the mission ends.
We just got a fix on Al-Assad's position. Let's go.
Next mission, shock and awe. The Americans think that Al-Assad is chilling out in his capital city and that he may actually have a Russian nuclear missile. So they're trying to find him and kill him. The mission begins in a chopper. Jackson goes to work with a grenade launcher. Then they get info that a friendly squad is in trouble, and they have to go and follow this big green smoke to go and save them. Jackson gets on the ground, kills some dudes, makes his way over to the green smoke, then teams up with the other boys. Jackson gets to the LZ, jumps on the chopper. They then get info of a possible nuclear device at Al-Assad's palace to the west, so then they have to dip to the east real quick. Jackson and the team starts to escape, but then a friendly chopper gets hit with a missile and goes to the ground. The boys nobly make their way down to save the pilot, despite the nuclear threat. Jackson picks up the pilot from the wreckage. Damn, she kinda cute though, and throws her in the back of their chopper, and they start to escape. As they're making their way out, a nuclear bomb is exploded, and here's a big rip in the chat for the boys. The chopper starts spinning out of control, hits the ground, and the screen fades to black. Bringing us to the next mission, where Jackson is crawling out of the helicopter, mortally wounded by the blast. He falls to the ground, a cloud from the nuclear bomb can be seen, and eventually, Jackson dies. Now back to the SAS. Nikolai thinks Al-Assad is still alive and hiding in a safe house, so the SAS pull up in Azerbaijan looking for him.
Al-Assad is in the village. The ultra-nationalists are protecting him. Move out.
They search through this village, go through a series of buildings, and eventually find Al-Assad hiding.
We want Al-Assad alive. He's no good to us dead. Let's go.
Price then opens up the door, and then boom, 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 shreks these dudes, and starts beating up Al-Assad, and then the screen cuts to black. We then have Captain Price repeatedly punching Al-Assad in the face, when Al-Assad's LG cookie starts ringing.
Sir, it's his cell phone.
I live in Smethwick, Birmingham. Come down, Smethwick Hospitality. I'll come out of my house. I've told you where I live. You want to know where I live? I live in Smethwick. Now come on.
Well, that's Al-Assad dead.
We don't care.
Gazan asks Price, who was that? And he says, Zakayev, Imran Zakayev. Yeah, you remember this dude from earlier? The next mission's a flashback to 15 years ago, playing as Price when he was a lieutenant in All Gillied Up, taking place in Pripyat, Ukraine, and Price is joined by this dude called Captain Macmillan.
It's you, McMuffin!
Follow me and keep low.
They're all dripped out in the latest Supreme/Gucci ghillie suits, and they start sneaking through when they see this enemy patrol. They then do some epic quickscopes, get to this house, quickscope a couple more people, when oh no, they get noticed. Macmillan spots a lookout in the church tower. GG's. They then sneak forward again when an enemy patrol can be heard in the distance. They then lie down on the ground, hide away from this massive squad of enemies, and sneak on past.
Oh, no.
The word stealth doesn't mean anything to you, does it? Move up.
We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
They then see some more enemies, quickscope them, and eventually end up in this crate.
Get ready to move on my signal.
Oh, no.
Then Macmillan starts dashing for it like one of those kids doing the Naruto run in high school. They then sneak around and underneath some vehicles and manage to get past all of the enemies. They then go through some desolate buildings and then make it to a hotel that they use a few hours later as a sniper spot to get a good angle at Imran Zakayev. Imran Zakayev then pulls up and he's doing some dodgy deal with a dodgy briefcase. Price then McMillan hardscopes Zakayev and absolutely shreks him. Then his helicopter notices them, Surprise has to shoot that down. Then the building they're in starts getting fired upon,
And they're like, oh, bruh, we gotta dip out real quick.
they then start heading over to an extraction point, and they have to get there within 20 minutes when the chopper arrives to pick them up. As they're making their way to the extraction point, an enemy helicopter notices them. The chopper then crashes to the ground, shrekking everything in its path, including Captain McMillan.
My leg's all messed up. I can't move. You're gonna have to carry me.
That's not ideal, is it, mate?
McMillan is still alive though. Surprise has to pick him up, and with McMillan on his back, makes his way over to the extraction point. Eventually, they make it to the evac location. Price chucks McMillan on the ground, and then has to kill a bunch of guys whilst they wait for the helicopter to pull up. Then the helicopter pulls up, Price picks up McMillan, chucks him in the back, and they dip out. This then brings us back to the present day, 8 hours after Al-Assad's death, in the mission Heat. Some of Al-Assad's fanboys aren't too impressed that the SAS killed him, and they start doing a counter-attack on their position. So the team then pulls up on a bunch of these enemies, and they eventually get pushed back. Soap then has to jump on a minigun, killing a bunch of dudes and taking a bunch of choppers down. Soap then makes his way to a tavern, picks up these explosives, and detonates them. The team then falls back to the farm. Soap then picks up a javelin and blows up a series of tanks. The team then gets information that they can't get picked up from their current location, and they have to make it all the way back down to where they just came from. Big L.
Now they want us to go all the way back down!
To make it even spicier, they only have 4 minutes to get there, because the helicopter picking them up has a shortage of fuel. Luckily, they make it just in time, the chopper picks them up, and they dip out the lobby. This then brings us to the next mission, the Sins of the Father in southern Russia. Basically, the team is trying to find Imran Zakayev's son. Yeah, you remember this dude? I like your cut, G. But Sergeant Kamarov is like, yo bro, I know where this guy's at. So the SAS, the USMC, and the Russian loyalists all get together and go to the location Kamarov suggests. The team makes their way to this enemy position and does a bunch of epic quickscoping, kills off all the enemies, and once clearing the area, Price is then like, yo guys, get into the enemy's clothing. We're gonna pretend we're the bad guys. That brings us to 2 hours later. Soap and Griggs are chilling out in this watchtower, and when Victor Sakayev's squad pulls up, they ambush them. Soap shoots down on the vehicles. When the watchtower gets hit, in a slow-mo daze, Soap is coming back to consciousness and can see Victor Sakayev making his escape. Soap then gets back up, and him and Griggs have to engage in an epic chase, trying to catch up with Victor Sakayev. So they do a little bit of running and eventually get to this building where Victor Sakayev is, go up some stairs, and they find him. Just as the team is about to secure him, Victor Sakayev pulls his own gun out, puts it to his head, and ends his own life.
Faceplate, this is Bravo 6. Zakayev's son's dead. His son was our only lead, sir.
Forget it. I know the man. He won't let this go unanswered.
And guess what? Victor Zakayev's death made Imran Zakayev very mad. Enraged by his son's death, Zakayev retaliates by taking control of a nuclear launch facility.
All US and British forces will leave Russia immediately or suffer the consequences.
So then Price is like, boys, we gotta retake this launch facility before Zakayev starts acting up. And that brings us to Ultimatum in the Altai Mountains of Russia. I don't know if I said that right. The boys parachute down, but Griggs goes missing.
Where's Griggs?
No idea, sir.
My guy loaded in the wrong server. Griggs then activates his emergency transponder, and the team finds out he's a little bit southwest, so they start heading over, kill a bunch of dudes, and eventually get to the house where Griggs is being held. Price does some epic moves, blows open the door, they make their way in and save Griggs.
I was starting to think you guys were gonna leave me behind.
That was my first thought, but your ass had all the C4.
Soap then cuts Griggs loose and then gets to a power transmission tower that they need to knock down. Soap gets some C4, chucks it on, boom. There's a big explosion, it hits the ground. Yeah, big W. The team has to then regroup with the second squad. So they head down the road to this place. They then kill a bunch of dudes. Then they make their way out and start heading over to the launch facility when some epic American snipers pull up. They start having a little chit chat with the snipers when, oh no, Zakayev decided to launch some freaking nukes. Yeah, that's not good. 2, bro. Seriously?
Are you serious right now, bro?
End of mission. Then it's confirmed that yes, 2 nuclear bombs were launched and they're heading towards America and going to potentially claim 40 million lives. So this is when the SAS and the USMC have to save the day. Next mission, all in, leaving right off from the last mission. So Command's trying to get some abort codes from the Russians. Meanwhile, the boys are pulling up to the launch facility, trying to get in and get to the launch control room. They make their way forwards, kill some people, blow up some stuff.
Get back! Get back!
The team eventually gets to the air vents for the launch facility, cuts them open, and rappels down into the launch facility, leading us to the next mission. No fighting in the war room. Soap and Griggs sneak through some vents, and eventually drop down. Price is chilling with the boys as well. Command gets the abort codes, and is then like, you got 15 minutes to go and disarm these bombs before they hit America. The timer starts counting down. The team proceeds forwards, killing a bunch of guys. Price, Griggs, and Soap eventually make it to these locked doors, which Gaz then opens from a different location.
Guys, can't you make it open faster?
You can try pulling it if it makes you feel better.
Bruh.
I'm fast. And they start going forward again. Eventually they make it to a wall which leads them to the launch control room. Soap puts some C4 down, blows it up. Boom, they make their way in, kill some dudes. Soap gets on the Windows XP frickin' PC and enters the abort codes, destroying the missiles in flight, saving the Americans.
Bravo 6, all warheads have been confirmed destroyed in flight.
Then one of the Marines noticed that Imran Zakayev is actually on the security feed, so Griggs, Price, and Soap make their escape. They then get in this lift, go up it, get to the vehicle depot, jump in the whips, and the mission ends, bringing us to game over, the final mission of the campaign. The SAS and the USMC have to dip out the lobby. Meanwhile, enemy trucks are coming for them. Then an enemy chopper swoops in, and Soap tries to shoot it with the RPG. They then continue at speed down the road. Whoa! Whoa! The team then thinks that the helicopter is leaving, but no. It takes fire at a nearby bridge, and the vehicles come to a crash. The screen fades to black, but quickly comes back in. The bridge begins to crumble. Soap and Price have to parkour their way up. The team fires at the enemies, until a massive explosion goes off, and the screen cuts to black. Soap comes back to consciousness, with Griggs pulling him to the side, taking shots at the enemies. Once his pistol runs out of ammo, he brings out his LMG and takes fire. But no. No! Griggs gets shot in the head and dies. With Griggs dead, Soap looks to the side and sees Captain Price on the ground. Then he turns his head back and sees Imran Zakayev making his way over. Zakayev puts a gun to Gaz's head and kills him. Just as Victor Zakayev begins to make his way over to Soap and Captain Price, the Russian loyalists pull up and blow the heck out of this helicopter, distracting Zakayev and his company. Soap then looks to the side and meets eyes with Captain Price, who then slides him a pistol. Soap then grabs the gun, pulls it up, and boom! Headshot. Zakayev's dead. When I popped off, then you go. The Russian loyalists then rope down, and Kamarov comes to Soap's aid. Soap then looks to the side once more and sees a Russian medic trying to revive a seemingly unresponsive Captain Price. No! Soap then looks up, and the mission comes to a close with a fade to white. And that is Call of Duty 4.